Hey guys, it's me again, Nova, the edgy karate guy, your Tekken buddy. Today, I'll bring you guys a tutorial on how to deal with Jack 8's newfound power, Gamma Howl. As you might know, in Tekken 8, Jack received a rework. He's not the same Jack as you knew before. Well, in fact, he is the same Jack, but he's something more than that. It all has to do with Gigas. Unfortunately, this character was a failed character. Sadly, we'll never get closure on Katarina's storyline, since Gigas was implied to be her adoptive father, and he was experimented on by G-Corp to be a hulking, living, organic weapon. Probably a weapon to surpass Jack specifically. But it's all gone to shit. Gigas is gone forever. But it doesn't mean the essence of Gigas is dead, because now Gigas lives on inside Jack. Think Dragon Ball Z, the Namekusei saga. Think Jack 7 as Piccolo and Gigas as Nail. Nail was willingly absorbed by Piccolo, so he could get retribution on Frieza. And now Nail lives through Piccolo. And so Jack 8 came to exist. Gigas lives on through Jack. But I digress, enough of Dragon Ball Z lore. Let's learn how to beat Gigas' legacy inside Jack, Gamma Howl. Gamma Howl is the living expression of Gigas living through Jack 8. It is a stance that can be activated organically through 3+4, but it is also transition from moves. These transitions of course will lead to a stance mix-up since Jack has plenty of options inside the stance. Jack 8 uses these stance transitions to force mix-ups on block. These are the moves that can transition to Gamma Howl. But the ones that we really need to worry about are the ones that put Jack at +4 on block or further on you. The other ones can be easily option selected, as I'll show later in the video. So for starters, the ones that we will focus on are 1-1 into Gamma Howl, FF1 into Gamma Howl, and Sidestep 2 into Gamma Howl. Jack players will extensively use 1-1 into Gamma Howl and FF1 into Gamma Howl in particular. So let's first get to know all his options inside Gamma Howl. So many tricky options, right? Well, let's just deal with this bullshit. Because of this powerful force mix-up on block, most Jack players will go 1-1 into Gamma Howl and they will keep abusing it, because it puts them +4 on block. For starters, if you are a reactive character like Jin, Devil Jin or Leroy, you can cut the crap right from the source, like so. Now, if you're not a reactive character, you're now at the mercy of his force Gamma Howl mix-up on block. He's +4 on you. That doesn't mean there's not an effective solution for that. But let's start by showing you what you should not do. Jabbing, even though you can beat many options, is not a good idea, because his fastest option, Gamma Howl 4, will lead into a devastating trade against you. Down jabbing is also a bad idea, because Gamma Howl 3 will evade your down jab, and his power crush, Gamma Howl 3+4, will also kill your down jab. There is actually a much more effective and sophisticated solution for this problem. Your modus operandi will depend on whether Jack is not in hit mode or if he is in hit mode. When Jack is not in heat, here's what you must do. You must sidestep left block. When Jack is not in heat, the Jack player will be reluctant to try Gamma Howl 1, the homing mid, because it is -10 when he's not in heat. Also, Gamma Howl 2 doesn't give him the apocalyptic outcome he desires when he's not in heat. So you should expect Jack players to be more experimental with his options when he's not in heat. You can use it to your advantage, because if he goes for Gamma Howl 4, his fastest option to create a devastating trade with a possible jab challenge from you, he'll be murdered because you will always, invariably get his back. Now, when Jack is in heat, it's another thing entirely. It's a whole different story. We will have to change our approach by force of necessity. And why do I say that? It's simple. Remember Gamma Howl 2, that brutal height straight punch we blocked in our sidestep left block? If you ever block this move with Jack in heat, it causes a guard break that gives him +11, guaranteeing his heat smash for the apocalypse. Also, Gamma Howl 1, his homing mid, stops being unsafe at -10. It becomes a safe homing mid knockdown at the cost of hit bar. Meaning, Jack has an insane 50-50 here on paper. Because of the insane high guard break, the Jack player's priorities will immediately change. Now, the main threat against you is Gamma Howl 2, so we have to work around this reality. Our priority now is to negate Gamma Howl 2 while surviving as many options as possible. And there is a way to do that, but it doesn't come without problems of its own. When Jack is in heat, what we will be doing is the opposite of what we were doing before. We are going sidestep right block. By going sidestep right block, we are able to kill his most dangerous threat, Gamma Howl 2, because although it's tracked your sidestep left, it is extremely weak to sidestep right. The problem is, by doing so, you'll be somewhat exposed to a very specific option from Jack, Gamma Howl 4. Remember the fast kick that we repeatedly got his back? Turns out this kick 100% tracks sidestep right. Still, there is a possibility that you can still perfectly block it in time, thus negating all his options, even when he is in heat, even though it is extremely difficult to do so, as I will show you. You have to sidestep right block fast, but also not too fast, because you need to create enough lateral movement to beat our main threats. Bear in mind, I did not have time to practice against it. Jack 8 is a totally new thing to me. I only had the opportunity to play Tekken 8 twice at a friend's house, and I tried as hard as possible to record as many cool Tekken 8 content as I could for you guys. So I really did not have time to record an ideally perfect clip because time was running out and I had to go back home. It's not a perfect clip, but it's perfect enough to be clearly understood. So here goes. The good news is, in this clip I'm demonstrating, we're dealing with an ideal scenario where Jack is extremely sophisticated and is using the entirety of his options from Gamma Howl. This is really not the case in actual matches. You usually can't expect sophistication from a Jack player since he is the most robotic flowcharty character in the game. The character is literally made for the player to use pre-made combinations of unreactable fundamental moves and pokes that, used successfully one after the other, creates a lockdown snowballing scenario. He's not merely a robot. He is made to be played robotically and is indeed played as such. Jack players are literally running a scripted flowchart. Once his down back 1 connects, for example, he will either go for full crouch, low poke, while standing 4 and so on. There is no variance. They don't have to invest brainpower to think about deep nuance, complex variables and so on, because Jack's moves are designed to simply work one after the other. They just work. So once a Jack player is in heat, he'll immediately focus in the Gamma Howl 1 and Gamma Howl 2 50-50 and nothing else. It's either the safe home in mid or the high guard break to guarantee the hit smash. The chances that he will go for Gamma Howl 4 to specifically respond to your sidestep right block technique are very, very slim. That is something you would only expect from a guy like Anakin, but definitely not your everyday high-level Jack. The everyday high-level Jack will only focus in forcing the 50-50 until either his hit bar runs out or you die because he got you. So what I mean by that is, because Jack players are generally not extremely sophisticated, this sidestep right block technique will work wonders against him when he's in heat. You can pretty much kill his 50-50. You survive the home in mid, you make him spend hit bar, and you murder his high guard break. This technique I showed you also perfectly applies to FF1 into Gamma Howl, like so. Now, let's just fool around a little bit. Say you play a Monke character that essentially plays for you. You'd be surprised by how you can screw Jack Gamma Howl entirely by simply existing. Watch how broken abominations can simply disregard all this complex defensive work I showed you guys and still completely twist the odds of the mix-up to his favor. Jack Gamma Howl now works against Jack without any specialized defensive skill required. Just mash a button and win. The odds are completely on your favor. Now, here's the exception. Sidestep 2 into Gamma Howl. It is a high that will put Jack into +9 on block. Now things get dicey, because if you try to move, Gamma Howl 4 will kill you. But again, we can still explore the Jack player's lack of sophistication when he is in heat. because sidestep right block will still work on the hit 50-50 between Gamma Howl 1 and Gamma Howl 2. You can still kill him for not being sophisticated. Even though he's +9 on you, the defensive technique still works. Now, remember I told you we should only worry about 1-1 into Gamma Howl, FF1 into Gamma Howl, and sidestep 2 into Gamma Howl. The reason is all the other options that transition Jack into Gamma Howl are actually non-mixups, they are fake mixups. They are easily option selectable, and I'll give you some examples. Well, like this one, back 3-2 into Gamma Howl simply does not exist for obvious reasons. You should always duck on reaction back 3-2. Now, all the other Gamma Howl transitions can be simply option selected by a jab. You jab and block. If you jab and block, you'll beat all his options and you'll still survive Gamma Howl 3+4, his power crush. Now, if you go greedy and try the entire jab string or a G-cleft cannon and so on, you'll be killed by his power crush. But it's still up to you. The odds are entirely on your favor. Your jab string, your G-cleft, will kill all his options except the power crush. But the perfect option select is just jab interrupting and blocking. And that's it, guys. If you completely master these defensive techniques I showed you, you completely obliterate Jack 8. We simply neutralize Gigas and he'll be forced to go Jack 7 on you. And that's about it. I believe I managed to do a good job on this one. If you like my Tekken content, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to reach 1000 subscribers, and I'm very grateful if you help me reach this goal. Again, I thank you guys for all the support you give me. You guys are really the best. I'm still looking forward to get myself a PS5 to play Tekken 8. But like I told you guys, I recorded so much Tekken 8 content that day that I may still have some cool stuff stored on my flash drive to produce more Tekken 8 content for you guys. So just stay tuned, we'll be seeing each other again. God bless.